I'm just going to give everybody a couple of seconds to come in before we start. Give everybody one more minute. Well, I'm going to get started. One of the things I will mention right away is that we do record these and we then keep them all on our YouTube channel at Remodelers Marketing Crew. So if you come in a little late, you can always go back and catch up on that as well. So everyone, welcome. I'm really happy you're here for today's, whoops, I went ahead. Did that by mistake. Sorry. Anyway, now you know what's coming. So today's special session that's specifically on search engine optimization and basically how to get your modeling company, deck builders, general contractors, how to get your website found on Google so that you are on page one and preferably in the top 5 positions. And one of the big things that we're going to talk about are, first of all, the significance of organic search, because if it's not significant, if it doesn't matter, then why are we even talking about it? So we're going to talk about that. And then the significance of the changes in the algorithm that Google uses, because that changes how we do SEO. And it also talks about some changes that are occurring because of AI at this point. So that makes a big difference. And we're going to bring in the 80-20 principle on how to use that with SEO. We're going to talk about new things that you can do in content strategy to help your website rank. We're going to cover on-site and off-site SEO. Big thing we're going to emphasize, one of the major changes in this Google algorithm is user experience. So we're going to make sure that that's really focused. Talk about keyword research, content relevance, building authority through citations and link building, and basically just how to integrate SEO as a comprehensive digital marketing strategy. So that's our goals for today. First of all, I'm going to double check the chat. Okay, good, we have it here. I want to put a couple things. If anyone can't hear me, please put it in the chat. Okay, good. Then I want to add, go. Okay. Make sure those are. Okay, so throughout the conversation, we're going to talk about an SEO checklist. So you're welcome to download that and just save a copy for yourself. A keyword checklist, save a copy for yourself as well. And then if you want to schedule a meeting with us, there's a link to that too. So you'll find that in the chat. So anyone can look at that as well. Okay, so it looks like everyone's here. So one of the things we do is we do have these monthly meetings, webinars to teach new aspects. And we also are integrating, starting next month, mastermind classes where we're going to teach specific things on the first one we're going to talk about is handling the phone and objections. So that would be one of the first things we're going to have in our mastermind class. In the beginning, the mastermind class is going to be open to everyone, but we will eventually be just putting those for our clients. But for now, we're going to offer those for everyone because I talk to so many contractors every single day. Many people do need these kind of master classes. So one of the things we always talk about, we started out our very first webinar in January, our very first webinar this year in January, was about marketing and budgeting. So how much should you spend on your budget was the idea in this one, and where should you spend that money? But all of it is involved in what we call the accelerated growth model, right? Because to grow, we need to drive leads to us first, right? We've got to have leads coming into our company. And then once we get those leads, right, we're going to work hard to get them. We're going to have organic SEO, paid search, use our databases. But then we want to make sure once we get them, we maximize the conversion, right? So we want to get the highest percentage of people that would get driven to us now become our customers. And we're going to do that through website conversion, reputation, automations. Then we want to make sure that our results are optimized. For the money that we're spending, what's our return on investment? So one of the things we have to know is our total spend and our cost per lead. Now, in our first webinar, again, it's on YouTube, it's marketing for 2025 for a remodeler company. So you should be able to find that on Remodelers Marketing Crew in the YouTube channel. But we focused on website conversion on the second one. I'm sorry, the first one, we focused on marketing. And so it told us that basically to kind of stay, this is an overall rule of thumb, but to just kind of stay at the same place you are, you need to spend about 5% of your revenue on marketing. To have moderate growth, about 8%, and have aggressive growth, you want to be 10 to 12% of your revenue should be spent on marketing. And from that, we showed you how to get the average cost per lead and your return on investment, because those are very important things to know. And then the second webinar in February, we talked about what should you do with your website for conversion? What are specific things on your website that help it convert? And in there, we did talk a little bit about automations as well and how those will help. So in this one, we're talking about the organic search. That's our focus. This is just another way of looking at this, accelerated growth model. Here, it's in more detail. It gives you more of still driving leads, maximize conversion, optimizing your results. So this was mostly covered pretty well in our January webinar, focused mostly on the website conversion in our February. And so here in March, we're focusing on organic growth with SEO. Okay, so we call this our digital dominance method. And basically what this is a big picture of everything that you might want to do to truly maximize your lead flow online. Okay, so this is how we, first of all, we have to build a good website. It's built to convert. Then we need to rank it. Okay, so we might have that great website, but if no one's finding it, it's not any good. So we need to use SEO to rank it. That's our focus today. We certainly want to make sure that we have our Google business profile claimed and optimized. That will be within the next 2 months. That's going to be our one of our webinars. I think we're going to sneak in the masterclass on phone use and and answering the phone and objections first, and maybe AI. That seems to be really hot first, but we will, within the next 3 webinars, we will be talking about Google Maps. So stay tuned for that. You can also go and put in the chat here if you want us to make sure, give us your email, and we'll make sure that you get notified about all of the webinars and masterclasses. And of course, you want to use social media to your advantage, reputation management. We use market automating, following up with the calls to help maximize. That's why we convert. That's why we talked about that and converting. And then just following up with other clients, nurturing sequences and so forth. And then, of course, pay-per-click. That's another big item that we're talking here. So each one of these would be its own thorough approach to do it. But today we're focusing on right here, going into SEO optimization so that we can get you ranked as high as you could in non-paid listings. Okay. Let's see, did I forget anything else? Nope, that's about it here. So just a little bit of housekeeping things I want to mention is, actually that should say 45 to 60 minutes. I generally do not go over an hour. If there's a lot of questions we may, that's up to you if you want to stay for the questions or not. It's interesting, but generally it's under an hour. But if you turn off your cell phone, your Facebook, the other things that you find distracting, and that I promise you that this is going to be worth your while if you pay attention to this, and that you're going to walk away with some really great insights and strategies, not just to rank better, but also to generate more leads and therefore to generate more sales. Okay, so let's do that. So what are we going to cover today? So first thing we're going to cover is the latest Google algorithm changes. So I'm going to actually give you a link on another slide for where you can find all the changes. And literally, there's a pretty major change, sometimes twice a month, huge changes at least every quarter. So it is constantly changes. Then we're going to go through some of those, how things have changed. And so what should you be focusing on today? Then we're going to talk about, there's probably some things because of these changes. There's probably some things that you have on your website or been doing on your website that actually are hurting you now. So we want to make sure you're aware of those so that you change those and you don't have that, working against your website anymore. We're also going to focus on the 80-20 rule. Okay, so what you say with the 80-20 rule is that 20% of your activity in any given area, anything that you focus on, generates 80% of your results. Okay, so we're going to focus on that 20% that's going to give you the biggest bang for your buck, right? The biggest change in your website, which will lead to more leads and more sales. So we can't possibly cover every single thing that has to do with Google Business, just Google Business Profiles or SEO, and that's why we spread it out over each month to begin with, each topic. But if I looked at just the people in just my SEO department, and I added up, I think the least person in there has 3 years of experience, most has close to 10, one has a master's degree in SEO, so we could get really deep. We just took one course that alone, forget how many hours that one deep level course was, and it was just on page SEO. So we have to really focus on the 20% of the stuff that's going to make you move the most. So that's what we're going to focus on. Okay. So first of all, I've been talking for a while. Who am I, and why should you listen to me? So I've had over 10 years of experience in the remodeling industry and in digital marketing as well. We've worked with more than 50 businesses that we've increased their revenue for. I'm the author, but not out published yet. Stuck in our editor's raised place for a while. But anyway, Stop Wasting Money, the Remodeler's No BS Guide to Digital Marketing that actually works. Spoken at many industry events, widely accepted as a premier expert in internet marketing for the remodeling business. And we've worked with remodeling, I'm going to show you some of them, but remodeling businesses all over the US. So that's one way we're unique, is that we are not only in digital marketing, but we're focusing on remodeling general contractors. So that's one. But another kind of unique thing about me, the owner of Remodelers Marketing Crew, owner and founder, is that I actually have been a professor for over 25 years, about 25 years. Have a doctorate in business administration. I've taught finance, marketing, entrepreneurship. That kind of is how I got into this. I was a director of the Entrepreneurship Center in the university I worked for. And the Small Business Association set up us with people that we would go out and do, try to analyze the company. What's going wrong, give them a business plan for the first half of the semester, and then do something that made a difference the second half. And probably 95% plus people needed help with their digital marketing. But being a course, the semester was over, they needed more help, they came to me, and thus the market was business was born from there. And then also, so that was when we were doing like a kind of all small businesses. But then we realized it would be better for us to focus on one industry that we were really good at and we knew really well. And that's why we became Remodelers Marketing Crew. Okay, so we work with dozens and dozens of remodeling companies, deck builders, general contractors, owners of any kind of contracting business. Here's just a few of them. There's in New Mexico, Boston, California, Connecticut, so all over the place that we've worked with. And who are we? Well, one of the key things about us, we have a team of 20 plus full-time people working on all of our websites, and they specifically do certain things. So we have people that just do SEO, just do writing for content, just do editing for that content, just do web development, just do ads. So they're focusing just on that. We've grown to the point that we can have specialists in each area and help our clients all across the country. So that's mainly our focus. So possibly if you are thinking that maybe your website might need some more work and that you want to be interested in talking to someone who could do some of these things we're talking about today for your company, please give us a call. There's in that, I'll show you at the end, but also in the chat, you'll see there's a schedule for a free SEO review. We will basically go through, it's all complimentary. We'll go through, we'll analyze your keywords, your online process, and I'll talk about a little bit more about the end. So this is not at all supposed to be a sales pitch, but if you're interested and you're thinking, hey, I get this, but I'd really like to see what they think of my website, what they think of my internet presence, please don't hesitate to give us a call. So one of the big questions, right, what we should be really focusing on right now is, does SEO matter, right? Because if it doesn't matter, all of us are wasting our time kind of sitting here right now involved in this. So let's talk about if SEO matters at all. So The main thing about it is that the search algorithm changes, and it has changed tremendously in the last 10 years. It's a lot of how the listings look. If you remember how they looked before, now there might have been some ads on top, but now you've got different kinds of ads. You've got local service ads, you've got sponsored ads, then you've got the map pack, right? And then you've got the organic, and sometimes they'll have people will ask. Sometimes there'll be AI now at the top answering questions. So all of these things are changing. And so the way that our results search is changing. So we have to think about, well, does SEO even matter? Are we going to be found anymore? Okay. So let's start with some data when we're talking about that. Okay, so why is SEO important? So we've looked at a bunch of different places that have done these studies and wanted to bring some of them to light. So one is that 68% of online experiences begin with in search engine. So people are coming on, mostly Google, about 85% Google, Bing, and so forth, and they're searching here. Now people are starting to use AI, and we're going to bring that discussion in too, but it starts generally with a search engine. 53% of all website traffic comes from organic search, right? SEO drives 1,000% more traffic than organic social media. Now, one thing I want to mention about this, now this is from these studies, but it is a little bit hard to tell. Now, a typical buyer right now, so they may see maybe a post that you boosted or an ad on Facebook, but they're thinking, oh, if I touch that, then maybe I'm going to get inundated with calls and emails. So they might go directly to your website instead of clicking on that ad or that social media post. And then when they get to the website, they may at that point make a phone call or so forth. So really probably the website's getting credited with it, but it has something to do with your social media, your ads as well. So the more these blend in together, it's harder to tell them apart. But from statistics, we do know that most of it is driven, the majority is driven from SEO. 69, almost 70% of the searches contain 4 words or more. Why is this different? Why is this important? Well, we used to think, well, I just got to rank for remodeling contractors, remodeling companies. But those are very high difficulty keywords. So it's actually, if you're going to say remodeling contractors near me, remodeling contractors in XYZ city, best kitchen remodeling contractors in my area, right? We're having more words, not as much difficulty. And so that's really important to understand. And that SEO have a higher close ratio than outbound leads like emails or direct mail, and 2 to 3 times greater than PPC. Now, this doesn't mean that you shouldn't use PPC as well, but we're just trying to say the question was, why is SEO important? And generally, you're going to have a higher quality, lower priced lead with SEO. And we'll continue to kind of talk about that. So as we look through, we've done some studies. And one of the things that we've looked at is what we found that 71% of the clicks come from either the map or the organic listings, right? That's where 71% of it comes. So again, that's important. But even beyond that, 67% go to the first 5 listings. Now, in this particular example here, it shows that there were actually 4 map listings. Usually there's only 3, but I've seen occasions where there's only 2 as well here. And then 1 organic. So those would be the top here. Sometimes though, you'll have 2 here, 3 here. So, but generally 67% in the first 5. So yes, it is important. And it's important to be on page 1, right? That's even more important actually than page 1 is to be in the first 5. Okay. And that just shows you where we got these. So this is kind of, those are outside studies, but we also find this organically ourselves. And I could go through all of our websites. I'm just choosing one, and this is one we're going to look at today. So I figured I'd choose this one, but it shows the actual investment. This is for a particular month that they spent almost $6,800 on. That's everything, all fees for our work and all of the ad spend that they spent. From that, they got 53 leads. But the key thing is organic calls, Google Map calls, and web forms and chats, right? All from what we call organic, right? 77% from organic, right? So yes, even out, not even just outside studies, what we're finding in with our actual companies from our actual experience that this is true. So yes, SEO still matters. Look at that last examples, out of 53 leads, only 12 were pay-per-click. So you really need to also count on SEO matters. Yes, it does. You want to have a full, complete strategy. But we found a lot of times now people, they're relying more on PPC. And so, the pay-per-clicks, Facebook ads, and they're not focusing much on what you would have on your on-page search. But we know for a fact that the average lead is much higher in PPC, right? So your lead is not only going to be lower with SEO, lower cost, but it's going to be higher quality. So that's the reality. The highest quality lead, and your lowest cost lead is more from your organic search. So yes, SEO matters. These slides I'm going to go through kind of quickly. This just lists some of the major algorithms. If you go here, first of all, I would highly recommend following searchenginejournal.com. Great SEO education in there. If you specifically go to google-algorithm.history, they're continuously updating all of the history. And you'll see that there's a lot of months, there's 2 and 3 changes a month. And sometimes there's a major one every quarter. And it will go through all of these. So you want to keep up to date. Excellent place to keep up to date. So what about these factor categories? Well, there's well over 200. The other thing about these categories is recently it was only EAT, EEAT, expertise, authority, and trust. We're going to talk about more in detail later on. One of the big changes in the last 2 or 3 years is experience, user experience. This has changed so many of the rules, and that's what we're going to be talking about a lot. So you absolutely have to have everything technically working, right? You've got to have it going fast. You've got to have your SSL. You've got to have no broken links. You've got to have redirects to pages that have changed, indexed, crawling, all of that. You've got to have on-page and off-page, which we're going to talk about way more in detail on the next few pages. And then all of this is going to keep tying back into user experience. And we're going to talk about what are those, how does Google know if the user is having a good experience or not? And we're going to talk about that as well. And part of that user experience, of course, is that the page loads quickly, that you can see everything clearly, that it's mobile responsive. Really key thing that we've talked about a lot, but again, make sure your website looks good on a website, a tablet, and mobile, right? On different devices. Okay, so that's those factors. We're going to come back to this again towards the end, but just to show you, like, what factor people say to me sometimes, should I focus on to make, and this happens to be for a local pack, but it's a map pack, so that's your Google Business Profile, and you'll see the ranking factors for a website are a little bit different. But a local map pack, the Google Business Profile, has an address. Even if it's not shown, there is an address that you claimed it at. That is like it's like an antenna that goes up, right? And so right there, you're more likely to be ranked number 1 or 2, right? And you might have nothing ranking in the 5 miles around you. The more we do to optimize that Google Business Profile, get reviews, get citations, get like signals, right? All those things that we do, it's going to start going further and further and further around that area. And you're going to start ranking further around. And that's another thing we're going to illustrate for you today. Let's see the highest percentage here, and that's one of the lowest, but it's down in the second half of the percentage of signals for a website, but it's very high for a Google Business Profile. Reviews, another thing, very high for a Google Business Profile, but not as high for a website. Why? Well, Google is monitoring the reviews that go on your Google Business Profile. And if they don't think it's real, they'll take it off. Believe me, I've seen it. Where you can put anything you want kind of on your own website. So people tend to believe them, so they have a much higher local ranking factor. So I wanted to bring those up. So now let's get to the kind of the meat of this, right? Cutting to the chase, or whatever we might say. What is this new SEO formula? So the very first thing you want to do is figure out what are the most important keywords based on your service or services, service area, and the search volume. Is there anyone looking for that service area, right? So this is beyond a doubt the most important thing to start with. So You can start by simply saying, what do you think? You deal with these customers every day. You know what their problems are. You answer their questions every day, right? What do you think your customers are typing into Google when they're searching for you, right? So are they typing just kitchen remodeler? Are they typing best kitchen remodeler? Are they typing kitchen remodeler near me? Kitchen remodeler in Denver? Right? What are they typing in when they get there? Are they typing Denver kitchen remodeler? Right. So first of all, really want you to think. This. Let me just double check the chat. Anybody have any put in? Okay. Well, if you put any in, we'll think about it. But we need to find them. So it's always good to start because when you even use these tools, it's better. You really have to start the tools with an idea. So you might start them with kitchen remodeler and you might tell them your location, things like that. So, but you need something to start with the tools. So Google Ads Planner, you can only use if you have a Google Ads account. But if you do, you put in like remodeling contractor, kitchen remodeler, it'll spit a bunch of stuff out. And there's WordStream, SpyFu, Ahrefs, SEMrush, Search Atlas. I believe except for if you have a Google Ads, all the rest of these do have a cost to them. We can also help you with the keyword research, and I'm going to talk about that in a little while, but somewhere you need to do this. And when you look, it'll also tell you the volume and it'll tell you the difficulty. So you kind of go, oh, that one might be a little bit more difficult when you're working through it. Okay, second, now you've got the keywords. Now we've got to set up a great website with unique pages targeting those keywords. Okay, so every page should have a keyword you're targeting. Now, there might be some other keywords on it, but your main keyword, each page, and it should be different because you would be called keyword cannibalization. Otherwise, you don't want a whole bunch of pages ranking for the same keyword. It confuses Google and probably the viewers coming to your website, but it certainly will confuse Google and therefore you won't get ranked. So every page has to have unique content that is user-friendly, gets your user involved, which you're going to talk about a little bit more. Okay. So there should be a page for each service, okay? Each service that you're doing. So kitchens, baths, basements, additions, full home remodels, whatever they may be, each page. So I see a lot of people, they try to cut corners, put them all on the home page, just put little sections. They will all just drop to that on the first page. You're not going to rank for all those keywords doing it that way. Each page generally ranks well for one keyword. So you want to rank maybe for just home remodeling, and let's say I'm using the example of the area in Boston that I was talking about. So they didn't want to go into Boston. They've got all the towns south of Boston. And nowhere on a map does it call it really the South Shore, but everyone near there does. So we call it the South Shore. So we're going to say, okay, so I'm going to look for home remodeler in the South Shore. Then I'm going to have a kitchen remodel page, bathroom remodel page, so forth. Then for each of the towns in the South Shore, I'm going to have kitchen remodeling Braintree kitchen remodeling, and so forth, going on like that in each page. But the key thing about it, I thought I was going to say that here, is that each single one city and service all must have unique content that are targeting their specific keywords. That's really, really heavy. That's really very important. The next thing you want to focus on is user experience. So of course, you want it to load up quickly. You want to get your core vitals going right. All that's got to be good. It's kind of been old stuff that we already knew we had to do. Now what we're talking about is the big shifts. See, let's talk about some big shifts that happened with algorithms. So it used to be, not all that long ago, people would what we call keyword stuff. So what does that mean? Literally, there were pages that would just be, say it was Denver home remodeling, Boston home remodeling, right? So that whole page would just say Denver home remodeling, Denver kitchen remodel. Like there weren't, sometimes they were so bad, people didn't even write content around it. Well, that got a little frowned upon. So then they'd mix it in with content, but it really wasn't saying much. It wasn't user friendly. People weren't really interacting with it. And as things evolved, they call it keyword density. So we can't have that much keyword density or keyword stuffing. So search engines recognize this isn't a good experience for the user. So that's where this experience idea came out. The second biggest mistake we see is not doing links. So I know that kind of right now it's saying, hey, link building is really not that popular. Is it that important? But the key thing is we still do need to do some link building. It was very aggressive before to do it for just pile on a bunch of links. But now what we find is it's better to have maybe not as many links, but high quality links, either in the location area you are or in the niche, the industry. So in remodeling, in kitchen remodeling, in bathroom remodeling. So those are where you want to find your links somewhere else. And all of this leads back to, right, user experience. We want to see how is the human interacting with this, right? So when they get to your page, what are they doing, right? How are they interacting? Are they scrolling down? Are they moving around? Are they stopping? Did they click on something, right? These are the things that we're really looking for with that, that experience. And if you got everything on your page, like 20 of you all have it working, what's going to be the difference? Why is one going to get ranked higher than the other? It's for the user experience. And we're going to talk about those key things as well. Then we have a whole entire section on page optimization. I'm not going to go too far into it here, but that's going to be the keywords, your title tags, H tags, making sure your keywords are spread out evenly through the content and internal linking, which is very important as well. Then we're going to talk about offsite optimization as well. Again, some of the biggest mistakes that we're seeing, we're looking from what people have done in the past that's hurting them. Two of the biggest mistakes. One is duplicate content. So one of the things, everybody came up a while back and said, you need a city page for every single service. And I said, okay, so they created a kitchen remodeling page for city A, right? Then all they did was take that and duplicate it over and over again and just change the name from city A to city B. But everything else was the same. People did this a lot. Well, some people still have it in there. Hopefully most people have figured it out. It has to be unique content. Not only is it not helping you, but it actually is hurting you when you have what's called duplicate content on there. Second big mistake, we mentioned a little bit earlier, is not building citations, getting your company listed in major directories, local directories, industry directories, and getting respect and authority through link building. And then also not just doing your link building just to your homepage, which is what a lot of people do, but also do it to your service pages and your city pages, so especially that local backlinking that you might do. And also occasionally you might want to do one to a blog, if a blog is doing really well, to beef up the blog. So again, speaking in terms of that 80-20, 80% of your results are going to come from your off page, right? And 20% is going to be on how well structured you are. Because why is that going to matter? Why are the results going to come more from off page? Because more people are doing the on page correctly. More people have that down. And not as many people have the off page. So you can make sure, so you've got to still have that down, because it's kind of like saying, I don't know if anybody ever studied finance. I'm actually a big finance person, right? Technical analysis. Like, oh yeah, we used to see the charts of how stocks moved, and you could just tell when to buy or sell a stock. Well, then everybody started doing it, so that wasn't effective anymore. So you had to go to analysis, analyzing companies. Well, how would their numbers look, right? So it's kind of an example of this too. We've got to say, you've got to have your on page down, because most people do. But if you're in a whole group and everybody's got their on page down and you're getting off page as well, you are more likely to rank higher on there. So hopefully I'm just trying to, again, keep this kind of at a high level. So let me kind of recap, right? So we want to make sure we've got these keywords. Then once we've got these keywords that people are actually looking for, we want to create unique, relevant content that your users are having a good experience with, okay? Then you also have to make sure that you build authority and citations with your links. All of these will give signals to Google to help with your organic ranking results. So what's the last thing? Well, come up, tracking, right? We can never change or measure. We can't measure or change, right? We can't change things if we don't measure them, right? We don't know, are we winning or are we losing if we don't know, right? If we run a race, just how much better did I do today running, but I don't time it? I don't know. Did I do better than yesterday? I don't know. I didn't time it. It felt good, but I don't know, right? So we have to know. So how much traffic do we have? Is the traffic going up, going down? How many keywords? What are those keywords? Are they on the page 1, page 2? Are they more transactional, that people are ready to make a move with these types of keywords? And then probably the most important of all is, are we getting more leads? And even more important, are we driving up our sales in our company? So when we think about an SEO strategy, we want to think about, what should I be tracking to know if this is a successful winning SEO strategy? All right. One thing that just kind of that could help you here, and again, the download is in the chat. Sure, there's no questions there. Good. If you just click in here, let's see, I think it will bring me to it here, and then you can just download the checklist. It will come up. Yeah, so there's your checklist. That'll just keep you on target, kind of remind you of what the most important things that we covered today are. So I always like to take little stops here and there, time to check my chat for a minute, make sure if anyone's asking any questions or not. Go over here. Okay. So think about it yourself, though. Take a second. And also, once you get that checklist, what are the things that we are doing? Do we have a page for each of our services? Do we have a page for each of our cities? Is everything unique? Are we doing backlinks? Like, think of all those things. Is the user staying on our website? Are they having a good experience? Are we answering their questions? Okay, so those are the key things. So it's just to help you a little also with the remodeler keywords. Again, the link is in the chat, but also here, when you'll see, it'll come down. This will actually give you 2 things. So it's going to tell you to get your here, and you can give us your email and it will give you that. And then also it'll talk about what we would do if we had one of our, it is free of charge. This is what we would be charging someone. And then you can click here and you can actually book a time with us if you thought that would be useful. I guarantee you, I've never had anyone that didn't come to an hour meeting with us and learn some things. Not everyone becomes our client, but they absolutely learn some things and maybe evaluated the person they're working with better because of what they learned. So here again, we're going to tell you what the keywords are. If we did this personally for you, if you make an appointment with us, we'll also tie in your location, which you should be matching, kitchen remodel, city A, kitchen remodel. Okay, we've got that down. And then this also tells you the volume, the search volume monthly for this, and the keyword difficulty. So it goes from 1 to 100. So you really want to try possibly to stay under 2025 on some of these, especially when you're starting out. As you grow, you can go to the higher keywords. Okay. And so this just tells you everything that if you did sign up, and again, there's another place here to schedule, and there's a link in the chat, but we will completely analyze all of your online. How are you being found right now online? Do a whole custom keyword research for you, show you where you're ranking, analyze where you are now in any directories, any inconsistencies, so that's very important that it's consistent. Review your online reputation management, give suggestions there, analyze your social presence, and see if there's anything we can mention that might help you convert better on your website. So you might say, hey, maybe you need another call to action. Maybe this place isn't clear. Maybe you're skipping things. So those are the things we've done. So I'm not sure why it's coming up that direction, but let's talk about on-site optimization. Okay, go on site. First, we're going to start with those keywords. We've got those keywords. Now we're going to use them to create good content that's going to give a good, unique content. And keep saying that. I know it sounds like I'm repeating. Maybe that's the professor in me as well. But we want it to be good, unique content that very importantly has a good user experience. Okay, so don't just keyword stuff. Write for the human. That's why we're saying user experience versus SEO. You want to get your user to interact with your content. Okay, these are the signals, right? So Google's going to see, oh, they came to the website. Okay. How long did they stay on the website? How many pages did they go? How many times did they click? So one of the things that helped it here is this down here, leveraging multimedia and pictures. People nowadays like to watch videos. They like to see pictures. So if you have a short video and they click on it and they're watching a couple of minute video about, especially if you can talk about you, your company, what you do, what makes you unique, you're building trust and authority then as well as user experience and interaction. I know it's something, believe me, working with contractors for so long, I know it's something people don't like to do. But believe me, it pays off. I can show you website after website. We talked about this more in the conversion webinar last time, but it works. It works. Keeps people on. And if it's videos, especially of you talking about your services, how you're different, you're also building trust and authority as well. So that's really key. Pages for each of your services, probably overkilling on that at this point. Pages for each of the cities that you serve, right? And again, making sure that it is unique content, and making sure that you're aiming at things that have the most volume and that are looking for people that are really looking to make an action, right? You're going to do maybe on your blogs, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Those may be more, what are the latest trends in kitchen remodel? Those people we've gotten to the website, and then hopefully through getting them there, we're going to get them to actually now convert and say, hey, yeah, why don't you come look at my kitchen? So there's different places for different keywords that we're looking at there. So you want to look at the search volume as well on there. We also, besides the unique content here, which you've talked about a lot, there's a tool, and there's other tools like this, but this is one that's called Nearby Now. And you basically would give that to whoever was out performing your service, doing your remodel. So hopefully they're also walking away, keep things together, before and after videos and pictures, right? And have you, the owner, walking around. That's even better, again, as we keep talking about. But here, while you're leaving, and get reviews when you're leaving as well. But also, you can click on this Nearby Now when you finish. You're right there. It's going to register your location. You're going to talk about the service, what you just finished. If there was a review done, you can put that back up, and it will automatically go and get posted on your city page for that service. So it really builds the ranking for that page and that service. So that's really key. Next, you want to make sure that your keyword is in the title and the H1 for that page. So if we're have a service page for kitchen remodeling, we want to make sure that H1 and that title says kitchen remodeling, right? And then in this case, if it's like a service page, you might say in the general area. So giving my South Shore example, in the South Shore area. Now we might have a kitchen remodeling page for one of the towns in the South Shore. So one of the towns is Quincy. So then on the Quincy page, I'm going to have kitchen remodeling Quincy, Mass. Okay, so those are the kinds of things that we're going to do there. However, it used to say all the time that we should have meta descriptions, should be keyword stuff, like put that keyword in there over and over and over again. But now we say don't do that. We want to put a meta description that sells the click. What do we mean by that? We want to sell the person on clicking. Now you've come up, right? We've gotten you there on page 1 or your map's up there. How are we going to say click here, right? We don't just stuff with the same keywords again, right? So, I mean, really obvious ones are something like a plumber that would be, or a dumpster. We have some dumpster companies use that. It would be same day service. Okay, I know, I need that. I need my dumpster today. General contractor, maybe not quite as much urgency, but you might say general contractor with 25 years of experience and 300 5-star reviews in the Dallas area, right? So now I know it's not just a general contractor in Dallas. I've got a general contractor with years of experience and great reviews. I might say, oh, let's find out more about this person. Okay, so that's the idea there. Make sure your name, address, phone number in the footer, and that they match everything on your Google Business Profile and on all of your citations. Okay, blogs. Okay, so blogs are important. For one thing is the fact that once we get this website up, you've got your homepage, your About Us page, your services page, your service area, location pages. It's kind of static. And that does not mean in any way that we wouldn't go back and change those pages. In fact, we kind of think at least every 2 years, those pages should be completely revamped. But in between that time, we want to give Google new content. And one of the things we also want to do is put our most current blogs on page 1, because that gives your homepage, page 1, new content every month. If you're putting content in there, it gives Google a reason to go through and index your page again. Okay, so that is really key, is getting that content up. I'm thinking I didn't miss anything here. Nope, one blog. So you don't have to do a million blogs either. You can do one a month. That's fine. You could do more. You could do one a month as well. But then once you get that blog, so it's going to do some things. You're going to have internal links. So it's going to, somebody might land on your kitchen financing page and say, hey, this looks good. Maybe I can't afford a kitchen. Let's see what their kitchens look like. Go to your kitchen service page, maybe, or your kitchen service page in their city, and then hopefully contact you to come out and consult with them. But however, sometimes some of these blogs don't take off. So what do we want to do then? We want to syndicate them. So we're going to take that blog, right? We might make social media posts from it. We might make reels from it. The other thing we might, so we're going to get it out there that way, but we might have a tool that we use that we could send it out to a bunch of local magazines, newspapers, any kind of social aspects of it all that are online, okay? News stations, things like that. And we've put a bunch of them out. We put 30 to 100 out on each one. And even if only 10 or 15% of them actually put them on your site, you are getting natural links, natural backlinks, and they're showing up for your blog as well, and making more people go to that blog. So now you're showing on a local news station with that blog that has links pointing back to your website. Okay. Also, of course, you want your website to open quickly. People are always asking how fast. Generally, we'd say less than 3 seconds. The faster, the better, but you want it less than 3 seconds. I kind of just showed you this one of these examples right here. We're going to open this as a live example soon. But the biggest thing here is these two tools that you might use. So you want to look at those as well. So those two tools will give you those numbers. Okay, so let's look at the live example. So sometimes when I do live, it slows it down because things have closed up on me. So I'm going to start by showing you this. Hopefully when I do it live, it shows it again. But I'm focusing on, again, we have dozens and dozens of these websites. So I chose one, Hancock Renovations on the South Shore, has a URL, South Shore Home Remodel. And you see when I typed in South Shore Home Remodeling, comes up first in the maps and number 1 and 2 organically, right? And you can do that. So my contacts page came up number 2. So this is ranking so well that both our homepage and our content page. Remember, 67% of people click on the first 5. Here's the first 5. We are 3 out of the first 5. That's why we're getting so many clicks. We also have a website that converts. Okay, so let's go live for a minute and hope everything goes well. Whoops. All right. Now let's see if it kept us in Massachusetts. Oh, good, it did. All right, so I went in and just to kind of show you again live that it works, home remodeling, South Shore Home Remodeling. We've got all your ads up here and so forth as we always have, but there we are, number 1 in the maps. They have the people will ask, and there we are, number 1 and 2 in Oregon. Right. And we see if the rest of them stayed up. We also did Home Remodeling South Shore. And we see here, there was one of these map instances where they only showed 2. And we see we came up number 1 on the map and number 1 organically. Let's see, what else did we do? I wanted to show the various keywords. I think it was bath for this one. South Shore bath remodeling. So again, the area, but in the bath remodeling. Here we are only 2nd in the maps, but we still came up, and I believe we're 2nd organically. And one other one that we did, I think, was just kitchens, just to kind of show you. Kitchen remodelers, South Shore. And again, there you're seeing us number 1 here. So what does this website look like, right? So showing you that it ranks. How do we get that to happen? Okay. Let me start on the home page. So go back to the home page. So you'll see we've got the whole setup, right? We've got our logo, our home, the About Us page, our services. Now, when we first started, they just had kitchen, bath, garage, and basement, and we've added to those over time. There's a page for each one of them. Then the service areas, right? every single service area, location with the service they wanted to rank in, and then the blogs, right? And we've got all of our, we've got up a little bit more, our calls to action, phone call, get a free estimate, Facebook, YouTube channel, Google Business Profile. Here we have also they could email us. Here's our H1 for our homepage. What is it? Name of the company. What do we do? Home remodeling. Where do we do it? South Shore, Mass. Okay, I'm not confusing anybody. This is the name of our company, what we do, where we do it. Okay. Google's not. And then some more call to actions, our services here. And as we move down, we see we never lose the call to actions. We've got our page here. If we want to fill in the quote right there as well. We're talking about the team. We're talking about the, got a lot of pages open right now, so it's loading everything a little slower here. Should probably up. All right, as I refresh it, it comes back up. So each of the services written about with a link to read more about them in each place. And you'll see we're going to follow, it follows the same pattern everywhere. Okay. Just looks a little different. Why work with us? You know, another call to action here. Why work with us? Our mission statement. Absolutely must have testimonials on here. In this case, instead of before after pictures, we have a YouTube video that shows us our policies, and then the most recent blogs, another call to action here, right? Services, right? So I'll just choose one, right? So watch what's going to happen to the URL, name of the company / kitchen remodel. That's what we're focusing on. What is our H1? Kitchen remodeling services, South Shore, Mass. What are we doing? Where are we doing it, right? And go again, down here, we have all our call to actions, talking about why to hire us, costs of the kitchen remodel, and so forth. We had one of the, let's do a kitchen remodel here in Avon, Mass. So now what's going to happen? Kitchen remodel, Avon, Mass. Because now we're not focusing just on kitchen remodels, but on Avon, Mass. That's what are we talking about here is our H1, that's kitchen remodeler in Avon, Mass. That's our focus here. And we're going to be talking about what our kitchen remodels, the benefits of hiring a kitchen remodeler, all of our benefits, home addition, then what we also offer other things besides kitchens. So we've mentioned those as well, or other services. Talk about just working with us in general. And then of course, we're going to talk a little bit about the town itself and contact us as well in there, that right down to the bottom. So let's see if these load quickly. I loaded them all right up before we started. Let me get them loading. So this was just going to give us some of the data. We use a tool, mainly we use other tools, but Search Atlas is one of our tools that gives us all of the data on the companies. So we see, I just showed you that we rank, but what about the keywords? What are we ranking for with these keywords? So this here, we have different ways of looking at it, and we have audits that we can do on it and so forth. But this is going to give us what Google Search Console, GSC, what their overall look is directly from Google. I did have all of these up. Okay, so here we're seeing we've got 800 keywords, and we've got over 500 traffic coming, and 171,000 impressions every month. Okay, the key thing is, right, we do see it's ranking. I've already showed you, but what are those keywords that are getting us there? Load a second. Now, I loaded them separately because usually if I keep them each loaded, it will be a little bit quicker. And I wanted to show it to you live. Let's just go to the keywords. Sometimes it does work quicker there. Okay, oh, so it actually did. So here are the keywords. So it only measures the keywords on the top 10 pages. So almost 5,000, but we're most interested, right, on the top 10, because those are the keywords on page 1. So that's what we're most interested in. So this is why, so there are 537 for this website. So this is why it's doing so well, right? Home renovation contractors, right? That is a very commercial. The person wants to investigate moving on, right? And we see almost 10,000 people a month searching for it. Remodeling contractors near me, again, very commercial, 22,000 people a month looking for it. Home renovation contractors near me, 4,000 people looking almost, right? Best general contractors near me. Now that has a much lower, only 720 a month. But again, we can just whittle away keyword after keyword. These are all page one. Home renovations near me. This is so general, but we actually are ranking for it. Home contractors in my area, right? Typical things that your potential clients would be putting in. We're going to get some things like zip code East Bridgewater, Mass. Those are the keywords that are going to drop off, but we don't care. That's what's going to happen. Contractors, South Shore. Best rated bathroom remodelers near me. Let's look at some more as we go down. Garage addition contractors, remodeling and addition contractors, South Shore towns, again, not that great. Kitchen island contractors might be looking for that. Here's where we're going for specific towns. Second story additions, that's one of the towns we're focusing on, Easton, Mass. Kitchen remodeling services near me, right? I think you get the idea of it. I'm not going to go through all 537 of them, but you'll see that, right, there are a great deal local general contractors, bath remodeling South Shore, right? Those are the words you want to rank for. Those are the words people are putting in. Then they should just give you a quick, I don't know why these all aren't uploaded, heat map, but I actually have a heat map picture already in the presentation. Let's see if it comes up quick. Okay, so it did. South Shore home remodeling. This is just measuring how your Google business profile did. So if I typed in the word South Shore home remodeling right here in Hingham, I'm coming up number 1. If I did it right here in Norwell, number 4. I need to work a little bit more on Norwell. In Rockland, number 2. So that would tell me I'm going to look for some reviews. I'm going to write some content on Norwell to get that back in the top 3. But 95% of them are in the top 3. Okay. Just quick look at some of our other websites. I know we're kind of going along here. So we hear this is one in Fairfield County. You got the same thing. Dog remodeling, top choice for home remodeling and renovation services in Fairfield County. Got all of the services and many of the service areas. This one's fairly new. We've got another one here. Brand finish. Again, we've got the same idea, right? Services, service area, blogs. They're coming in here. These guys, we've been working on some ebooks, which has been driving business. People are like, oh, maybe I'm not ready yet, but they get an ebook. It starts the conversation. We nurture them in an email sequence. These guys are in Boise, Idaho. Again, similar type thing across the top here. Anything that you have that you're awarded, things like that, absolutely put those on as well. I think you get the idea. Here's one. This was Ken's remodeling, and he's specifically focusing on ADUs. So here we have an ebook for him, and I believe this is what the ebook looks like. So he actually prints these out and hands them out at open houses. We do Facebook ads for him for open houses, and then he actually hands them when people come to the open houses. Okay, so that gives you some real world. Let me get back to the presentation here. Okay, so that's what we started here. This just gives you some more of the performance of that South Shore Hancock home remodels, and all of this data you'd be getting from us monthly. There's the Google business profile. I noticed that it must have dropped there in Norwell because that's right where that number 4 is from when I made this. But and again, so we're getting website clicks, impressions, people calling from the Google business profile, very important. This just tells you an idea. This was 1 month. We generally average about 30 a month. So they did a little better this month. And they did spend about $6,800 on this here. But it averaged that their average is 128. But this month we got 53 leads. Overall, we generally averaged about 456 leads a month for the last year. Visits, I'm sorry. 30 of those were leads per month, and they generated over 1.2 million in revenue on the last. So just to kind of show you how this all works in. Yes, we rank. Yes, we got more people. Yes, we got them to stay. Yes, we got more website builders. Yes, we got more leads. And even the most important, we got more sales. Okay. This is just to show you how Dogwood if we did home remodeling, Fairfield, Connecticut, number one. And this shows you just some live examples. I didn't want to take too much time. So all of these three, right? Basement remodeling company, general builders, and a home remodeling company. Least amount of keywords is 550, 541 up to 1,200. Look at the organic traffic. And one of the reasons that this organic traffic is a little bit lower, even though they've been with us about 2 years, is they're located in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The whole population of within 50 miles of Albuquerque is about 350,000. This is metro of Boston, millions of a couple million, and metro of New York City, a couple million again. So part of it is going to be your organic traffic is going to depend on your location as well. So just want to stop for a second, see if there's any takeaways. Anybody has any questions? I double check and chat. No, I don't think so. So let's go. We talked about 80% of our conversation was going to be on off-page SEO. So off-page SEO, let's list the things you need to do. Number one, you need to make sure that you have claimed and optimized your Google business profile. Number one, okay. Then you want to get lots of citations across the web, okay. So you want to get your business name, address, phone. That's what they call the NAP, N-A-P, name, address, phone, in all of these citations across the website, all across the web, because they're going to see, Google's seeing, oh, these are a trusted company. They're in all of these major organizations. But then some of them are just your major citations and directories, but you also want to get in local and niche, in this case, home remodeling as well. You want to build up your reviews. Now, there's a million ways to get your reviews. We like to use sometimes NFC cards, tap on their phone for a review, automations, ask them through text and phone calls. You can use nearby now, Bird. Every time I have one of these, somebody throws another tool out. And there's millions of these tools. Or if you're working with someone like us, we'll help you with that. But make sure you get reviews. As we saw earlier in that other slide, reviews are a major ranking factor for offsite. So we want to make sure we do that. Build authoritative links back to your website from other websites. Okay, so we want to still be doing those links. And they should be relevant links. So you don't want one from a porn site or what are the other kinds of gaming sites, things like that. Those are only going to hurt. And we want them to be do follow. So they're going to be marked do follow. I don't really want to get dragged into the technical aspects, but do follow means the other site says, yes, you can follow back and forth, because these authoritative links are like votes for your company. And the higher authority they have and they're linking to you, the higher that vote counts. So all votes, in other words, are not equal. And then the strategic content syndication, which we had talked about a little bit earlier again. So again, we have tools, and you can work with other agencies that have tools that will take your information and syndicate it. So we're going to send it out, social media, news outlets, and so forth, so that it's out there somewhere else, pointing back to your website. So really important. Also, get links from, actually talking back here about the reviews, be on Yelp and Angie's and Houzz or those things, and get the links on there, because those are pointing back to your website too. So those are also very important. Okay. So key thing about this syndication is a simple blog, really doesn't work anymore. It doesn't cut it. You really do need to get that blog out there. So take that blog. We'll write a blog. Look at our website. We will write a blog. And then from that blog, we probably have 3 reels where I'm talking about different aspects of that blog. Then we might have 21 blog posts, 21 posts on social media. So we might post in Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and YouTube and so forth. So we'll put a post in there as well. And then we're going to send it out to news blasts, news organizations as well. So we really want to make sure that you do that. So we want to follow EAT, right? Experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trust to get your visibility. So here they're talking about it in more detail. Experience, right? Show your content is created with someone with direct firsthand experience. But author bios are huge. Again, something that I keep trying to get my clients to do. Some do, some don't. The ones that do are getting better. They're getting rank better. That's one of the factors, right? Expertise. So demonstrate your subject matter expertise. You're going to be constantly getting a bunch of content that's credible and helping people. Authority. So make sure that you're constantly publishing high quality content. It's organic, it's answering questions, and other people are mentioning you from other sites. And then trust, right? You want to be have your content be clear, contact customer service, information, positive reputations, all of that. And here's where I said we would kind of compare and contrast. So I got cut off a little bit, but this is for your Google Business Profile, your map pack, and this is organic for your website. So we see the biggest one here, right, is link signals. So inbound anchor text from your backlinks that you would get, linking domains, linking quality here, but link signals is second here, okay? But we talked before about reviews. So reviews are 13% for maps, only 7%, half as much for your website. Again, because you can kind of put anything you want on your own website, but your Google Business Profile has to be approved by Google. So give you some ideas of all of the factors and what percentages that they have. Okay, here's just a website. Let me just quickly go to this. Two things this might give you. Go to our website and you'll learn things like how to optimize your Google Business Profile. Okay, so please do look at that. Because I am doing a webinar on it very soon, but in fact, you can look at it sooner than that. It was just published a couple of weeks ago. So, and there's also reels and shorts on this as well. But beyond that, you see, here's the author, right? So I'm following this. I've got all of this good information. We're talking about a lot of the stuff we've talked about today and high quality. And here's checking out our showcasing projects guide, right? So we have a whole guide on how to showcase your projects. So we're talking about it here. Go look at that too. So, you know, they're talking about high quality photos. Well, how do I do that? Well, guess what? We just wrote a blog article. So what are you going to do? Maybe click on this. I'm keeping you on the website longer, right? User experience. Talking about reviews and so forth. Then we always like to end with the frequently asked questions. And then down here is here, and you can go to my author page as well. Show you what the author page is. That's what I'm awesome at. Talks about what I've done and so forth. And I believe, yeah, there's a link to my LinkedIn. So that's just an idea of what you want to do for your blog page. Okay. So again, it's the SEO checklist. We already talked about downloading that to make sure you're on top. So I want to just stop again for a quick second and check the chat. I don't see anything at this point. Okay, we're getting close to the end. So anything else anyone wants, again, let me know in the chat. We can do this free SEO visibility and scan for you. So this was, I think I showed you South Shore remodeling. Here's Dogwood remodeling again, showing what we would track and what the overview is. So if you want to sign up, again, here's the schedule, link for the schedule. There's a link in the chat. What we'll do, we'll completely analyze your online visibility. We will give you a custom keyword list. So you could have already down our general keyword list, but we'll look at it specifically. You know, like I showed you a client who focuses mostly on ADUs. So that's different than a lot of them. We had a client just this morning that we started with us and onboarded. And although he does all remodeling, main focus was two kind of different ones. One was window replacement, then bath and kitchen was second. And another one was his main focus is all he did. Everything was custom cabinets and roofs, kind of all over there. But again, that's what the client wants. We're going to work on your custom keyword for that. We're going to show you where you're ranking now. We're going to show you how you're doing in your online listings and if there's any inconsistencies. So sometimes you might have moved or changed your phone number and it didn't get changed in the directory. So we can do that for you. We'll analyze your reviews and your reputation management and then give you suggestions on how to improve it. Same thing with social presence. Here's what we're seeing right now. Here's some suggestions on how to improve it. And then website conversion. So we're going to look at it and say, hey, maybe if you added this here, maybe you don't have another call to action. Maybe the call to action is the exact same call to action over and over. Let's talk about different ways that we can convert your website as well. So again, I'm here to check the website one more second. I don't see any questions yet. But please go to just remodelersmarketingcrew.com. There's a link there to schedule with us, besides the other links, if you think about it later. Sign up, either put it here or contact us and just say, hey, you know what, I don't want to miss any more webinars, because if you sign up for the webinars and you're registered, you'll automatically get sent the link for the recording as well, and for all the handouts that went with it. So it's always nice to get on there, even if you somehow can't make some of these webinars, that you can always watch the recordings or go back and refer to it. So you probably want to subscribe to our YouTube channel on Remodelers Marketing Crew, and you'll see a lot of information there. And follow us on social media and look at the blogs that we wrote. Social media give you really a short format venue on things, and our blogs will give you more of the long format, so you can read the whole article on there. So I've really enjoyed sharing this with you. I hope that you're taking away a lot from this, and that we can talk again really soon. Please reach out or just use this knowledge to the best of your ability. Thanks so much.